and supporting the work that we've been doing over the last 9 months. When we were tasked with this project 9 months ago, our group sat down and we had lots of ideas on what we wanted to do, and it honestly took us a couple months of thought and process until we really decided what we wanted to do. But my name is Nick Bennett. I want to introduce everybody.
Derek Moxell with HCR.
Jody Ruffin with Upright Arts and Marketing.
Jessica Fraze with the town of Denton Public Library.
So as an earlier group said, I think it was Judy said that our group is pretty diverse too, from where we are and the different aspects that we bring and the different assets we bring. It was fun to be able to tap into all the knowledge that we have in our group. But so as I was saying, as we started sitting down and brainstorming ideas of what we wanted to get into, we quickly found that our entire group was passionate about the youth of our community. Part of what Leadership Central Montana is all about, underlined, is building the strength of our youth, and so that we can help entrepreneurship, so we can help downtown Lewistown and make everything stronger around us. So with everything that Stephen said today, negative about a survey, we decided to do a survey. So we're going to dig in a little bit to what we did there. Our next slide, please. The objective of our survey was to assess the needs and aspirations of Central Montana youth, specifically in the areas of educational opportunities, practical life skills, training, and occupational preparation. So every student is at home, they're getting guidance from their parents, good and bad, as we see as a community. And everybody has their own right to judge that. We also see students going to school, getting their education, and we see gaps in their education as well. I know when I went through high school and middle school, found that there were lots of gaps in our personal life training, how to balance a checkbook, business skills, leadership classes. And that's what we wanted to dig into and see what there was an interest, but it also expanded into a lot more, and we'll go over that as we go. So the survey that we built, we put hopefully a copy in front of everybody if you'd like to take a look at it. We're not professional survey builders, but we were pretty happy with what we came up with. Eventually we did find a few gaps in the information, but it was pretty fruitful. We surveyed over 500 surveyed students. We sent surveys, we personally delivered them and made contact with each one of the schools, to Fergus High School, Lewistown Junior High, Roy, Moore, Judith Gap, Stanford, and Grass Range. So that took us in just over 500 students. Next slide. Yes.
Sorry to interject. Our big picture here was like a youth rec center that bridged between the Boys and Girls Club and going off to college. So that was like our big main goal, but we don't have the resources or the time. And so this was kind of step 1 and 2. So maybe Kathy and Karen, if you want to give this baby to the next class. We don't have time, so.
No, and I appreciate Jesse stepping in to say that. When we first started our idea generation, that's exactly where we wanted to go. And maybe to add on to that, as we started digging in and building our survey, we found that either that's the way to go, or we wanted to step back a little bit and also just find out if that youth center is what we're looking for. We didn't want to force it as much. So that's kind of where we stepped into, but looking at the needs of Central Montana students. Or Central Montana youth. This is the age range that we surveyed. Kind of just over a third of the youth that we surveyed were 14 to 15-year-olds. Quite a few, 25% were in the 16 to 17. A smaller percentage, 28%, were in the 18 to 19-year-old range. And then the smallest percentage was the 12 to 13-year-olds. So, yes.
So these are just, you can follow along with your survey. These questions are exactly what was on the survey. So if you look at this question, I thought this was a pretty good percentage for kids who, half of them weren't even 15 yet, have already been employed. And speaking for a small town community, I was not surprised by this. I mean, we have kids who work for the parents, they're harvesting, they're fencing, whether they're getting paid or not. Just in Denton, we have kids scrambling for my town mowing positions and library help. We have positions at the school that are every one of them will go to a high school or junior high student. So I think this is a pretty good percentage for kids. You know, a lot of people say, well, kids these days, they don't want to work. They do, so. Go ahead. This one is probably one of the biggest questions I've seen come up in Denton, and surrounding areas. And I don't live in Lewistown, so I can't say exactly, but the big question is, well, do you want to leave or do you want to come back? I always knew I was coming back. I didn't really want to leave, but I had to leave. So this is kind of not, 38% isn't a big percentage, but out of 500 kids, that's not too bad. If kids are involved though at earlier ages, which we're kind of trying to get together with this youth rec center, or just classes of getting businesses into the schools and getting kids in entrepreneur and job application type situations, they might not know what's here for them. And if these businesses can get in and talk to these kids and say, you could do this while you're living in Lewistown, or you could do this and you can come work for me, this number might go up a little bit. So that's kind of our main goal, is to get businesses talking to students. So, go ahead. And this is kind of, I was surprised with the health, but if you look at Lewistown, we have the hospital, we have the health center, we have on-the-job training for CNAs at the state home. We have the nursing program with MSU Northern. Obviously, ag and mechanics were pretty big. Denton thrives on ag. And a lot of kids these days are going into the 2-year mechanic and welding and hands-on type schooling. So, that's the joke here.
So in our different groups, we had talked to different businesses about how we can get people to come back to Lewistown as well as stay in Lewistown. So I thought it was very interesting that last slide that says with their own product and their environment, ag and health. I think that speaks volumes to our area. And so, next slide. So we wanted to know how we can help our youth get into jobs. So we posed this question, do you need help? Do you need help searching for jobs, applying for jobs, or would you be interested in work study? Well, 83% out of 500 kids, I think this says a lot, that they are actually looking for help in areas. So whether it's, they're not getting it from the parents at home, helping them, pushing them in that direction. The high schools are not, preparing them or giving them the tools they need to get into these types of things. So we posed a question to find out, what are the kids looking for? What kind of jobs do they want in high school? Or what kind of experience can we give them? And a lot of these, granted this was a fill in the blank, so some of them didn't get answered, but a lot of these are trade jobs. We can give them these jobs in high school so they can really see if that's what they want to do. So I think, internships would be very valuable in this. So this goes back to the rec center. This was our main goal at the beginning, and then it just kind of transpired. But 48% said that yes, they would like one. Well, some of those that answered yes want like racquetball, basketball, sport stuff. The other portion wanted life skills, cooking classes, welding classes, training, any kind of training. So I think, like I said, I think this speaks volumes that the kids of our area want help. They need direction, and they're not getting it. So we need to meet those needs.
So to expound a little bit on this question, if there were courses, if there were educational opportunities that the youth of Central Montana could partake in, what would those interests be? I'm going to start at the bottom of this and work our way up. Business leadership, nearly 200 out of the 5 to 550 surveyed. You know, that speaks to what we're doing here tonight. That lets us know that our kids in Central Montana are on the right track. They want to be active, they want to be leaders, they want to have those tools. Personal finance and time management. Back to them showing their maturity, being responsible, wanting to be sound contributors to society. So it was good to see that high up there also. Natural resources. They love the part of the world they're growing up in. They want to foster that through stewardship and take care of it. Montana history and culture, leads to their history, their upbringing, their past and their heritage. With the government, they want to know who's governing them, what the rules are, why they have to conform to the speed limits or why things are. They're interested in this. They want to have that knowledge. With the other, that goes back to the slide about the job placement interest. Now, high schoolers being high schoolers, we cannot disclose to you, our esteemed guests, all the results that were written on that blank. There were a couple that were pretty interested. But that just speaks to those job placement interests that were listed. At the bottom of your survey, pretty extensive list on how many hours per day the average kid spends doing certain things. So, of course, we all like to relax a little bit, whether that's relaxing is sleeping or family time or this or that. A little over 3 hours average per day. Sports, about 2.5 average. Homework, again, 2.5. Video games and television, about 2 hours per day. Work, about 2 hours a day. And then clubs and organizations, about an hour and a half. So the conclusions we were able to draw from surveying the students around Central Montana, about 1/3 they want to stay here. Their heart is here, they want to stay here, grow up, raise their family. The students in Central Montana, they're interested in getting in the workforce and they want to do it now. Even down to 13, 14-year-olds, they want to be active, they want to get out there, they want to learn and do, get hands-on. I think that we as business leaders or communicators can get more proactive in being hands-on, job shadowing, internships, and providing some of those opportunities to those students. They want to have those life skills in that training so they can balance their checkbook. So they don't have to have mom and dad wake them up every morning to get to their job. They're striving for that. They let us know that. And then it's also parents that the occupations that they desire are very closely aligned to what's available with the health sector, with the ag sector, with the mechanics. So a lot of those interests that they're showing us, we've got it right here in Central Montana. They don't have to go anywhere else to do this. So the big question is where do we go from here? Of course, we work closely with a number of the schools to distribute the surveys. Talking to the administrators, they all showed great interest in knowing what the results are. I think we've identified some gaps that the schools can close a little bit, help those students be better prepared, be more informed, and help them become better young adults. So we're hoping that this helps the schools with that. As Jeff spoke, ultimately it'd be great to have a youth rec center for the 13 to 18-year-olds. Have technology classes, whether that be welding or CAD work or design, personal finance courses. The potential is limitless, but who's going to do it? Between civic organizations, support through businesses and the like, we know that the opportunity is there, but as we discussed, and I'm sure many of you, other groups, is that takes time, it takes administration, it takes overhead. And so we're hoping that this will be carried on, taken by another group, and if it comes together, that'd be great. Are there any questions, comments, or concerns about what we did as a project?
Does Fergus High School still have the internship program that they used to have?
I have not heard of it for many years.
Because they used to put the students.
It's called work to, or school to work program or something, and at our firm, we usually hire a high school kid.
So do you hire them or do they go there and
They
volunteer?
just come and volunteer, and then we end up actually paying them, just because it's a really boring job, but.
I know there were quite a few business people that used to do it back when my son was in school. Because like K&R Auto Body did and Bottle Dale did and Head Start did, they had to go out there and do that stuff. Some of the schools had student entrance funding classes.
We do it in Denton. I have a work study girl in the library 2 hours a day. And the co-op, I worked in the co-op when I was a senior, and I know the railroad takes kids. It kind of, I think, is a lot of, we just got a good counselor and she's really proactive. That kind of stuff.
And I think that's what we found is that needs to happen. It needs to be proactive, that we need to find an organization to head up this or get the schools more involved and really push these kids and get these opportunities set up for them to actually, just give them that shot to get on board.
So where is the survey available from?
Our survey?
Yes. Is it?
We can send it to you.
Email it to you.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we have, like Derek said, a lot of the school districts are interested in getting it. Talked to Tom Spica today, he wants to see it, and we're happy to make it available result-wise to anybody who would like to have access to
Who will
it.
give a business card to get it emailed?
Any one of us, you can just pass it forward.
I was hoping all of the groups would send us your PowerPoints so we could upload them on our website. I know I didn't catch some of those numbers as close as I wanted to, so if we could do that, we could upload them on the website.
There,
Yeah, part of the problem with the internship at the high school kids is the federal law does not allow anyone under the age of 18 in a manufacturing facility. So if you're not 18, you cannot be a speaker welding or ACO or Heidi Industries, Allied Steel. We have some high school kids who are working for us now. They're, of course, all over 18.
Right. Can you put them to work in like a more of an office setting or
No
in general?
way.
Really?
Can't do it in the building.
Really?
Not if they have the opportunity to go walk out on manufacturing.
It's a matter of liability.
It's just federal law. Things you do not
Derek, on the last slide, you had noted the results of the number of hours they participate in each after-school activity. It was good to see homework is not last. But it's interesting that clubs and organizations, as many as are available to high school students, is last. Is there, I guess it would be interesting to see what schools are doing to encourage kids.
And we talked about that particular number. Where were we at with clubs and organizations? So, hour and a half average, per day. Granted, there's going to be some kids that are in everything, Key Club, FCCLA, Honor Society, and there are some that are going to be just in one or two. And so they might be once a month or twice monthly, and there's going to be other kids that don't do anything. And so, with that, we were glad to see it actually registered. So that was a good sign. But given the fact it's not structured, most clubs aren't structured as an extracurricular where it's practice 4 or 5 nights a week and then game time. It's at least we got it registered.
Well, I think you guys kind of started it, but I think the most important thing is outreach to the kids. I mean, I have a 16-year-old that's kind of been looking for a job, but it's hard to hire a 16-year-old kid in this town. So, I mean, he doesn't know what his options are, and I think outreach from the business leaders and stuff like that would be beneficial to all these kids, because I think they do want to work, you know, but it's tough in this town.
Well, and even if they're in that 16 or 17-year-old range to where they may not qualify to go to work for that particular manufacturer or business, but if they've got that door open with that business owner or manager, and so when they do get to that age to where they can go to work, that owner or manager, they've got experience, they know their character, their personality, where they would fit in. And it's to start building, you know, and that's resume building for that young adult, is going through those steps and knowing what you do now may be fruitful in the future for you.
Yeah. Yeah, he doesn't have much of a resume at 16 years old.
Right. And some of that though falls on the students' shoulders too, and not just speaking, you know, some of that is not just the employer going to the kids, but the kids going to the employer too, and kicking them out and making them do it. I'm not telling you, I'm just saying that from my own experience, you know, it falls on both shoulders.
Minimum wage kind of fits into it also, because you take somebody that has like tips for skills, as near as you can tell, you still got to pay them as much as you would the qualified person. So that's another hindrance to engaging kids, giving them that beginning job so that they get their work ethic and so on.
And I think there's a lot of 16-year-old, 17-year-old kids out there that want to work, but I mean, maybe even this golf course is an example. I'm not sure if they'd let them run a lawnmower, you know, riding lawnmower. I mean, I'm not sure. You know?
I should, off the top of my head, but power equipment, a couple different things run into with child labor laws. The power equipment, you have to be at least 16, depending on what kind of equipment it is, ladders and all those things. For one thing, if you're a business, you can't hire a high school kid or children, kids, people under the age of 18, to mow your lawn, paint your house, etc. As a private individual, you can hire to do those kind of things. So that's maybe one of the things is run around the neighborhood with your lawnmower. You can make more money than trying to find that job at a business that's got to obey the rules that Charlie was talking about.
It seems like your data would support expanding, like the adult education program right now that's out there. I know it uses the Civic Center and the school for classrooms, but it seems like the kids, there's an interest out there in short classes or short training for kids that you could almost use the same model for and offer some of these things that they could get in and learn, with a couple nights a week, or just do a 1 month program and utilize that. Do you think? Does that sound?
Another one of our little ideas was doing a youth center leadership in Central Montana. Have business owners and workers come talk to the kids, and you have to get kids to sign up to do that. But it was a good experience for all of us, and it could be a good experience for all of them.
And obviously, they're looking for something
for that.
or would like that if it was available. I know when I was in high school, we didn't take any personal, I didn't know what life insurance was. I didn't know what car insurance was, the difference between buying a car and leasing a car, taxes. Those are really important things that kids need to know, and kids, adults, need to know, and it's, I don't know, it's lacking. Back to the basics, there's a lot of cooking. People want to learn how to cook. Well, yeah, that's great. Sewing, your basic.
And it's hard with Common Core sneaking its way in. We don't have any control over a home ec class. We can't do anything about that in the school. So that's going to have to be outsourced.
To answer your question, yes, it does. Because the school system is pushing out, we're obviously hitting on a lot of different topics here, but one of them is practical life skills and cooking and home skills, but also like shop and FFA and 4-H and those kind of things that are being taught in, maybe not 4-H in school, but shop and how to use your hands. And that stuff's being pushed out, because we've got to get students to be able to test and grade the way they need to. And maybe if that's still going to happen, then there's room for like a youth center or some kind of other training facility or training organization that comes in and does after hours work, does before school work or something like that to fill those gaps.
Any other questions for our group?